Hey, welcome to Classic Performance, and it's an early roll call this morning because we're going to hit the road to the Highlands Motoring Festival up in beautiful Highlands, North Carolina, about 2.5 hours away from us today. And the featured marque, of course, we're going to have many cars. The featured marque is going to be Porsche, some very significant Porsches, the 917K, the 91710, 908 short tail. You're going to see some Brumo stripes. You might see some Martini stripes. So some very significant cars that you just don't see everywhere. And being that it is Porsche being the featured marque, what better way to go than in our Carrera 4? And this is the Carrera 4, all-wheel drive, and of course it has the wide hips. And we're not going to delay a whole lot. We're going to hit the road. We're not going to have a whole lot of drama about us getting there and how we get there. In about 2 minutes, we're going to be in Highlands, North Carolina, where the action is. So we're riding up here in Highlands, North Carolina. We're getting close to Cashers, actually. You can take a look at just the beautiful roads here and the rock formations and the 911 Carrera 4 997 variant. This is a 6-speed car. It's just running perfectly. So just enjoy the sights for a second, and we'll be there next. All right, so we're here in beautiful Highlands, North Carolina. Nice, cool 63 degrees outside. The car ran perfectly. We found a spot to park right here on Main Street, but we're gonna walk around and just kind of see the sights and sounds and go to the park where the show is. You know, and the interesting cars here just as we're walking down Main Street. Really great looking Gulf colors there. All right, so we're here in the show area, right in the heart of the cars that we came to see. And the first one we're going to take a look at right here, we're going to take a walk around and look at all of them. This is the 1958 Porsche 550A Spider, and let's get a little wider angle here. 550A Spider. You know, there's only 45 of these produced, and this one actually raced at Le Mans in 1958. And give you a little look inside the Spider. You know, it's very basic, and these are small cars. You know, the 1964 904 Carrera GTS. This car right here actually raced in the Targa Floria Nürburgring ring, and has taken some class wins. About 180 horsepower, top speed of 160 miles an hour. Let's take a quick walk around of this one. And we're gonna keep moving our way through the field of cars.
I do. It's funny because you
1966 Porsche 906. And this is kind of the new design and the genesis of lightweight fiberglass body cars that were you know, a dominant force in racing well into the 1970s.
Of the car owners. I just want to inform you that judging will begin at 9:30.
And this is absolutely spectacular. You know, some of these cars, they look like race cars, but body work and finish on this is absolutely spectacular. We'll see if we can get a little shot of the interior. Just absolutely spectacular to see all these cars in one location, and we're out here early because this place is going to get really crowded and it's going to be hard to see everything. But 1966 906. So this is the Hurley Haywood 91710. I mean, this thing is crazy from the Can-Am series. This is in its latest iteration here, 1100 horsepower. It was a 5.0 flat 12 with twin turbochargers. I think this car was originally normally aspirated, and then the twin turbos came along as an iteration of it. But you just look how wide this car is, and you're right up here on the road in it. Cooling fan. But you know, these were the cars that put the Can-Am series out of business, so to speak. And then here's your twin turbochargers right here. And look at the width of the rear tires. I mean, here's my hand. I mean, these things were just absolute monsters. And of course, as I said, when we were leaving in the driveway, here's our Brumo stripes. This is an absolute fine example. '68 908 short tail coupe. You know, when the hoods are going up, here's the 908 with the back hood up, and looking at the business end of things right here. And I also said we'd see some Martini stripes. 1971 917K, and this car is original, unrestored. And you just look at the patina on it and some of the cracking. This is the flat 12. It's even got the road rash on the lens covers. And it's a tight fit in there. I don't know how well you can see, maybe better through the windshield, but it's an incredibly tight fit. To think that, you know, these guys race these cars for 24-hour stints. And I believe one of the necessary qualifications is it did have to have a passenger seat, so we've got that right there. And I believe this car is number 19.
I can open it up for you.
Oh, sure.
Just look inside.
Yeah.
It's about as original as they come.
It is just about original as they come, is right. Yeah. And like I said, this was your office, and this was your home for 24 hours. Just gear shifter over here. There's your pattern, and limited dashboard. Switch gear right here, and that's it. So we'll get a little history on this car. It was last raced when in '71.
Yeah, it's bought in '71, and then since then it's been in storage throughout the '70s and '80s under Vasek Polak ownership, and then the Revs Institute acquired it in the early 1990s. So it's been pretty much unrestored, you know, untouched mechanically. It's safe and sound.
This is the same livery and the same.
Yeah, since 1971.
Since 1971, and when it last raced.
This car has an interesting history because it started out with a different livery. It started out with the Salzburg livery. A lot of people know this livery with a car that won Le Mans '70, although it was red and white. But this is the first livery. Then it was converted to the blue, and you can actually see on the other side, but even some of the places here, you can see still some of that original blue. You can probably see it more on the other side. You kind of see it there as well. And then after that was when Martini, you know, sponsored the car, so it changed the livery, but it still doesn't have the little fins. You know, they were still working on stabilizing the rear end out of it. That's a Daytona. And now a Daytona had an interesting thing. The right front tire blew out and then hit the wall, and that was the DNF. You can see the scar of where the tire blew out and damaged the body a little bit. And it was just patched up, and it's still there, the history of that. So it had a DNF. It raced at Brands Hatch, and you can see it still has the green. They went from the blue to the green details. And then at Monza was when they put the fins on, and they also had a hood little intake scoop on there that you can see.
Right.
And if you look, that's why you can see the bare fiberglass, because when they put the fins, they repainted the tail.
Yeah.
But they had the hood scoop on it at the beginning, so that's why you see the bare fiberglass on here and over there, is because of that hood scoop. And then they took the hood scoop off. They saw it wasn't very efficient. And then the last race was at Spa, right as you see it. And then, like I said, since then it's at Revs, and we take it to different events. We drive it on the road, on public roads sometimes.
Wow.
We take it to the racetrack.
So that's a great piece of history right there, and all of its originality. Appreciate you.
My pleasure, sir.
Yeah, from the Miles.
Yep, from Revs Institute, Miles College.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
So what we've got right here is a 1952 Type 540 American Roadster. These cars, I believe there's 15 of them made, and they were all made out of aluminum, and one was made out of steel, and this is the steel-bodied car. So we've got a 1957 Porsche 356H Speedster, and there are quite a few produced. 4,918 were actually produced of the Speedsters between 54 and 58, and it's estimated that less than 2,000 exist today. And this car was raced in HSR and SVRA and SCCA races, and it was restored for road use, kind of put back to its original road use condition, restored in 2001. But it's interesting that from the number produced, almost 5,000, that the survival rate was pretty low. Got your owner's handbook right there, even. Just a beautiful car. Over here at the 1989 959 Sport, there's only 292 of these road-going all-wheel drive cars, but this is quite the innovation in technology for that day. So that's a quick walk around the featured Marque Porsche collection here, and we've seen them all. And what we'll do is we'll just kind of check out some of the other classics, other non-Porsche classics here. We'll take a look at this 1970 240Z. These cars were imported into Long Beach, California. And number 46 here, this particular car was the 1970 and 71 national champion. And you also remember Paul Newman drove these cars, and he did a lot of driving up in the Pocono Mountains area and that sort of thing. And this car actually raced for the championship in 1970, not far from here at Road Atlanta. And that's where the championship race was that year, where this car won, and that was also the first year of Road Atlanta. And we'll take a look at the inside here. It's got a 5-speed, and really looks fairly stock on the inside, but just beautifully restored. And you can see it's been to Amelia Island and other places. All right, here's one that you didn't think you were going to see, an American car. Early in the 1950s, when the streamlined shapes of jet airplanes and all became part of the public consciousness, two friends decided to conceive and build a unique American sports car, and this is it right here. And it was The chassis was manufactured here domestically, and then they sent that to Italy for the coach work to be done. And it's all hand-formed aluminum, and it took 30 months for Motto Company, M-O-T-T-O, to fabricate the body and mount it to the 126-inch wheelbase chassis. So it's all hand-formed aluminum, and then there's the restoration pictures and so forth. But you just look inside this thing, and this is a very large automobile. That steering wheel is like a piece of jewelry. But all hand-formed aluminum. You know, here's another fairly rare car, the 1989 911 slant nose, and what's special about that is this is a turbo, a 911 turbo, and this has the optional painted wheels on it, very little modifications to it, and just kind of the way it came as a turbo wide body slant nose. Still has the old school phone in there. You know, and here's one that just everybody always loves, is the 300 SL Roadster, 1957. This is the 13th Roadster ever built. And, you know, these things are just gorgeous in whatever configuration they're in. Absolutely stunning interior. You know, here we've got a 1950 Leicester MG T51. And then it was really kind of built out of some of the T-car parts back in the day. It had an experimental XP EG engine, similar to one used in the record-breaking EX 179 MG, and it's got an MG-TC transmission, a modified TA differential, rack and pinion steering, and that's an alloy coachwork, alloy body on it. And this car too competed the one lap of the mountains. See, the whole inside of this is aluminum, and you can see the MG, you know, kind of signature transmission right there. You know, everybody absolutely loves a 1965 Aston Martin DB5. This is an all-original matching numbers car with air conditioning. Kind of a look at the trunk in here, and even got the original tool bag. And of course your knockoff hammer for your knockoff wheels. And with the glare on here, you probably are not going to be able to see the interior. And of course here we've got a 1968 Jaguar E-Type Series 2. And this is a triple carb car, and Just beautiful on the underside. One of the things I always liked about these E-types, and you can see it a little bit on this side, had the ceramic coated exhaust manifolds. And this car does have air conditioning. It was interesting. Many of these Jaguars did have air conditioning. And we're over here at this 1955 Jaguar XK140, and really kind of the same engine, and you can even see on here still it has some of the ceramic coating still on the exhaust manifolds. And of course you got your 120 over there, so the 140 a little bit bigger car. And then this here is the XK120 1953. Much smaller car, but still a similar drop head design. And then just a year older, this is a 54 XK120. I'm sorry, a year newer. It's a 54, the green one right over here, 53. So you can see there's a few differences. And this one has the wheel skirts on it, and this one here is more of it's a real driver. You can kind of see the difference in the look here with the wheel skirts, and then without them right over here. So we've seen a lot of classics. We really haven't seen any Italian cars. We've seen Italian bodied cars, but here's a beautiful Ferrari 488 Pista right here. Ferrari 488, and this is coming out of Ferrari of Atlanta. So you could buy this car. You know, there are so many significant cars here. You want to spotlight every one of them, and we really can't. So we're going to move along a little more quickly now, but I do want to show you this 1967 275 GTB4. And of course, you know what it looks like under the hood. But these cars, excuse me, were absolutely just stunning. And you don't see the 275s very often. So we're going to kind of just walk the line here. It's a 250, I believe. 250 GTE. 330.
Very helpful, and you know, we're trying to help with all the mechanical stuff, but calling in.
512. And of course, you gotta love the gated shifter. But just some stunning Ferraris, and this is a 1983 512. And of course, we got our 73 Dino here, 246 GTS. You know, again, the gated shifter right down there. You know, one of the interesting thing about this car, I noticed it's got a placard here. And this car in 1975, this picture right here is it's a record-setting run from sea to shining sea, from driving from the New York world's record from New York to Los Angeles in 3 hours 53 minutes in the Ferrari Dino 246 GTS. in 1975, and here's the picture after that run right there. So, you know, always a little bit of history with all of these cars. You know, when's the last time you saw a Stanley steamer, other than the Stanley steamer that comes to your house to clean the carpet? There's a big hose right here on the bottom of this, and you wonder what that's for. It's probably to refill the gas tank, or in other words, how you replenish the water here. So, Stanley steamer, 1909 Model Z. You know, when you think of American classics, one of the first things that comes to mind is the Duesenberg Model J, and this is a Murphy-bodied town car right here. And you just look at the length of this, and then right next door we've got a 29 J Murphy as well. So that's where your driver would be, and right back here is where you would be. And we'll take a look over here at this 29 J Murphy convertible. But these are large cars.
This is my island.
You know, we've got right here is a 1927 Bentley, blower Bentley 4.5. And if you remember the old Roots type superchargers and those types of things, this is the, very interesting, this is the supercharger right here. This is the blower. And then this is your two downdraft carbs, and right here goes into the intake. So that's the blower on a 1927 blower Bentley.
Just to know that you had oil pressure. I did.
Mm. We've got a 1930 Alfa Romeo. This is a 6C 1750 Sport Zagato. Aston Martin International 1930 here. So here's a car that you would almost walk by, and to give you a little bit of history of it and why it's important. It's a 1972 Porsche 916, and it's a factory prototype. It's one of 11 ever made, and it's a U.S. specification car, and it's the only one ever sold to a U.S. Porsche dealer. And of course it was Brumos Porsche down in Jacksonville, and this is a very, very unique, one-of-a-kind car featured on the cover when it came in 1972 of Road and Track magazine. So very significant 916. So I want to show you this 1979 930, and what's special about it, this is the only 930 ever painted in Gulf blue. So that's a one-of-one, and that, I don't know if you can see it here with this phone, but that Gulf blue is absolutely outstanding. I hope you can hear me. This guy's yakking on the PA here, talking about hot dogs and so forth. But you know, here's the business end of a 930 right here, and this is your intercooler. And of course, this 930 here has air conditioning, and it even looks like it's been retrofitted to 134A. So just a beautiful 930 turbo.
All of these are non-profit agencies providing services to residents of Macon County.
You know, we were just about to leave, and they got the hood up on the 917K, so we'll give you a little look under the hood. And, you know, the one thing you note, you got the spare tire right here. And you say, why does this car have a spare tire? And it's actually got a Space Saver spare, but the spare tire was mandatory, I think, for Le Mans. Is that correct?
Regulations.
Yeah, it was a regulation. So every car that raced in Le Mans in this era had a spare tire. So there's your spare tire, and there's the massive flat 12. So it's getting a little bit more crowded now as we're kind of headed towards the noon hour, but you can see just the plethora of vehicles here to be seen. And so we'd love to spotlight them all, but we just can't. So that gives you a really good flavor of what this show is all about. So if you like classic cars, boats, trucks, airplanes, and vintage cars, subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you. and we'll see you next time.